Kyrie Irving's expected to stay with the Dallas Mavericks, according to a report from Chris B. Haynes of Bleacher Report and TNT. And the reason for that is that they're saying it's because, well, he's not really saying why, but that he's getting a sense that it's from. But my assumption, hey, first off, Luka's looking in shape. Everyone's seen the pictures online that are circling social media. But I've said it all the time. No income tax. Kyrie has played in Boston and New York, two very heavily income tax states in comparison to a no income tax state like Dallas. Mark Cuban seems like in the front office that he has a relationship with Nico Harrison from prior when he was signed to Nike, and Nico Harrison was the CEO over there, or at least a high level executive. I don't know if it was exactly CEO, but he seems to be recruiting people to come to Dallas, and Dallas can pay him the most money. They're probably going to give him a max. With that being said, I think you look at the current situation, it just makes sense that Kyrie stays. And I think when you look at the current structure of this team, they do have the ability to go out and make some moves. Like we all know, they have the 10th pick. They have Davis Bertans. That's a tradable contract. Same thing with Tim Hardaway Jr. That's a tradable contract. Obviously, Tim Hardaway Jr. isn't as much of a negative asset as Davis Bertans. But again, Davis Bertans and Tim Hardaway Jr. together is like $30 million plus of salary filler that you could potentially go out and get a player to pair up with Kyrie and Luka Doncic. And it doesn't have to be one player. There could be guys out, maybe you can convince the Orlando Magic, if the Orlando Magic don't have the free agency they expect, and maybe you convince them, hey, we'll take off a couple of those contracts that you guys are more than likely trying to get rid of. And there's probably going to be a few of their contracts that they will more than likely wanting to get rid of. And this is all hypothetical, in speculation, and we're just trying to put out there a realistic or an idea of like, okay, this is what a team could do similarly to another team, because it doesn't have to be the Orlando Magic. But I know the Orlando Magic are a team that are trying to finalize the roster that they believe they can contend with, and more than likely they're going to be probably looking at their roster in terms of which guys do they want to continue to pay, which guys do they want to move on from. And when you look at their salary cap, I think Jonathan Isaac could be a contract that the Mavericks might be interested in because they can waive it, as it's not guaranteed due to the partial guarantees with the games that he's missed. It's a whole bureaucratic, like, convoluted thing, but basically because he's missed games, it's not as much. Then there's Gary Harris. So you're thinking maybe Jonathan Isaac, Gary Harris, and Jalen Suggs, or Cole Anthony, and maybe Chumo KK. Some of the guys that, and I'm not saying packaging all those guys together, but those are some players right there that the Magic are probably looking to move on from, as they would want to finalize this roster around the players that they have faith are going to be contributors to their success. Or even a team like the Rockets, where they're going to have players that they're going to try to move off from. Same thing with the Spurs. Okay, the Spurs have a few guys that they're definitely looking at, hey, maybe these aren't entirely the guys that we want to keep on the roster moving forward, as they're right now going to be going into next season paying Doug McDermott and Devontae Graham. Maybe they don't want Zach Collins or Kem Birch on the roster anymore. So those are definitely guys that you could see, hey, maybe the Mavericks go out and use Davis Bertans and Tim Hardaway's contracts to get. So that's where I want to hear you guys' thoughts. It makes sense that Kyrie's staying, in my opinion. There's a lot that they can do here. They're not put in a box like some people have suggested. So let me hear you guys' thoughts down below. And I think, yeah, all right. Have a good one, guys. Peace out.